Hey guys, my name is Tom and I'm a second year psychology student. I'll be tutoring this year's Fundamentals of Psychology course. I'm really excited to be tutoring this course because I think it's such an interesting class and there's so much to talk about and understand. So I'm going to give you a little video to show you a little bit what you can expect. And I'm actually going to be talking about behaviorism, which is the topic of the upcoming lecture and is necessary for the PA this week. So I hope you guys can use this. So the first person that we are going to talk about when we're talking about behaviorism is Skinner, and he was a radical behaviorist. And what that means is that he believed in the very extreme of behaviorism, which meant that anything that was not directly measurable had to be left out. And that doesn't mean that he denied that other stuff existed, like dreams that can't be directly measured, but he just believed that things like dreams have no place in science. Another one of his thoughts is that free will is an illusion. And that's very important to remember, especially when you're determining whose quotes belong to which person. So knowing key information like that about individuals is very beneficial. Another one of his viewpoints is when you refer to the I, you're referring to the person as a whole. So the input and output that the person receives and puts out. And what that really does is that viewpoint means that there's no mind-body problem because it's all one thing. And he even went as far to say that humans and animals are the same, meaning that anything that people do can be taught to animals by reinforcements, and all complicated human behaviors are only due to reinforcements. And that brings us to the debate between Skinner and Chomsky. So this debate really started because Skinner wrote a theory about how children learn language. And Chomsky is a very famous linguist, and he had a problem with Skinner's theory. So before we get into that, we're going to go into Skinner's theory and try to understand it. So Skinner believed that when a child is born, they first start imitating what others are saying. And after they start imitating, they'll get reinforced. So either positive or negative reinforcement. So this is a type of operant conditioning. And through this reinforcement, the child is able to learn more complex sentence structures and use more complex sentence structures. So by the time the child has learned the language, they're able to form complex sentences based on stimuli-response interactions. So this is an example. So for example, if a child sees a cat and he calls it a kitty, then he'll be reinforced something like, yes, that's a cat. And that means that the link between the stimuli and response will be strengthened. But if he calls the cat dog, so the parent or someone will say, no, that's not a dog. And that's seen as a punishment. And then the stimuli response will weaken. So now that we know Skinner's theory, we can look at why Chomsky had a lot of problem with it. Well, there are three main reasons that Chomsky disagreed with Skinner's theory. The first is that he believed that Skinner's theory was way more vague than Skinner actually led on. The second is that the theory is actually unable to explain the complexity of language. And three is that the theory does not give justice to the learning process that is actually seen in children. So we're going to go through the first detail a little bit more in depth. Well, Skinner believed that his theory was objective, or at least that's what he led on. However, Chomsky believed that that was nonsense, because if we actually look at it very carefully, it becomes very vague. So for example, as you can see, there's a purple table. So a child can say that that's a table and get positive reinforcement. And a child can also say that that's purple and will also get positive reinforcement, because both of the statements are true. But the child might think that the word purple actually refers to the table, because in this case, they're used to describe the same object. So you can't really tell what the child is actually referring to. So the stimuli response link becomes a little bit more vague and weakened. And there's a few other examples that we'll go through in the actual training, and obviously we'll go through the other reasons and all the other content covered for the fundamentals. So I hope you guys found this video useful, and I hope to see you in the training starting on Saturday.